is Mahal Emilia Medina, and this is my presentation on gender relations and sexual violence. Sexual assault at its core is a devastating abuse of power, one that affects people of every age, race, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, national origin, socio-economic background, and religion. President Joseph R. Biden Jr. stated this in his proclamation on National Sexual Assault Prevention and Awareness Month on March 31st, 2021, in response to the National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey done by the Center of Disease Control, which found that more than 1 in 3 women experience sexual violence involving physical contact during her lifetime. This statistic shows that sexual violence is normalized when it most certainly should not be. The study done by the Center of Disease Control also found that nearly 1 in 5 women, as opposed to 1 in 38 men, have experienced completed or attempted rape during their lifetime. This large statistical difference is key evidence of the over-sexualization of women in modern society. In addition to this information, they found that 1 in 8 female rape victims reported that it occurred before the age of 10, and 1 in 4 male rape victims reported that it occurred before the age of 10, suggesting this link between femininity and sexual objectification. This adverse childhood experience was estimated to cost at least $9.3 billion in 2015, not including unreported cases. This cost is due to the child victims not being developmentally prepared to consent to sexual abuse and therefore at high risk of PTSD, depression, and heart disease, all of which are severe economic burdens on a person, as well as on the United States government. As someone who has experienced child sexual abuse in my life, I can confirm that having to pay the cost for my abusers is gut-wrenching to say the least. I live with the guilt of spending tens of thousands of my mother's check on medical bills from the trauma and health complications which have arisen from it. I feel that it is unfair for me to have to pay these costs for something I never consented to. It is also hurtful for me to have to watch my mother suffer the complications left over from her own unreported childhood sexual abuse. These costs, on top of our deteriorating mental health, are only some of the results of sexual assault which seem to be fully overlooked by the American government. Currently, according to the Center of Disease Control, limited evidence-based strategies for proactively protecting children from child sexual abuse are available. The Center of Disease Control also recognizes that additional efforts in child sexual abuse prevention are needed to improve surveillance system and data collection for monitoring child sexual abuse, increase our understanding of risk and protective factors for child sexual abuse perpetration and victimization, strengthen existing and develop new evidence-based policies, programs, and practices on the primary prevention of child sexual abuse, and increase dissemination and implementation of evidence-based strategies for child sexual abuse prevention. These gaps in sexual abuse prevention put all people at risk of experiencing sexual violence at this time. Although this means the world is currently unsafe, there is a few ways to help victims of sexual assault. Firstly, there are rape crisis centers and other victim-centered services available for survivors in need of victim advocacy and other resources to aid in their healing. Another option is trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, TFCBT, which is an evidence-based treatment meant to help victims address the negative effects of sexual violence. Lastly, the CDC advertises the Children with Problematic Sexual Behavior Cognitive Behavioral Treatment Program, school age program, BSBCBT, a research for children who have been exposed to violence at home or in the community and are at risk for violence perpetration or other serious behavioral problems. The Center of Disease Control and the current President of the United States collectively agree that the United States government fails to protect victims of sexual violence by blatantly ignoring this crisis. I believe the only way to incite change is to relentlessly attract the attention of the national government to this issue. Although this may seem like an arbitrary solution, this issue is wholly dependent on the cooperation of the country's leadership and funding.